Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer and subscriber. Hopefully you have seen the other videos that I released on the GameStop situation, why it happened, why I think it's a sign of things to come, reactions actually from some individuals including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And folks, things have actually ratcheted up since those videos because now there is some open warfare about the GameStop situation. In this video, I'll focus on the GameStop situation as well as give you the latest stocks, the latest updates as far as stimulus is concerned. My name is Dr. Nitin Choda. This right here is a little bit of information about me. This channel is about the country, the economy, and about your money. Nothing impacts the country more than the way small investors, the way retail investors are allowed to trade, because this allows a retail investor to make the kind of money that these big, huge, massive hedge funds are able to make. Keep in mind that when hedge funds, when hedge fund managers meet at a fancy hotel and have $1,000 bottle of wine and have discussions amongst themselves about short selling or about going long in a stock, the poor man's version of it, the retail version of it, the common man's version of it is something like Wall Street Bets, which is a Reddit group with 2.7 million users who were able to manipulate the stock of GameStop. So that is fundamentally what is going on. So guess what's happening right now? The government is getting involved. So Congressman Patrick McHenry, who's the top Republican on the Financial Services Committee, told Punchbowl News that he will be asking Maxine Walters, who's a Democrat from California, who's the chairman of the committee, to hold a hearing on, I quote, the new world of retail investing. Here's a quote on your screen from Congressman Patrick McHenry that was reported by Punchbowl News. We've all been watching the GameStop situation with absolute fascination. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. Most importantly, I want to open up markets to everyday investors. Now, this is interesting because the markets are already open to everyday investors. So let's just see what else he says. He said, that has been my goal since working on crowdfunding in the Jobs Act, and it continues with supporting new fintech innovations and cryptocurrency. If there has been market manipulation, fraud, or any pump and dump schemes, that obviously needs to be fully investigated. Folks, now I have to tell you that big hedge fund managers have been doing this for a long time. The exact same thing they do in those fancy dinners that are paid for by their shareholders, that exact same thing was done by this Reddit group. So I have released other videos on my channel talking about comments from Mark Cuban, comments from Chamath Palihapitiya, and even Elon Musk weighed in today. Elon Musk actually replied to a comment from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And by the way, she got into a feud, if you will, a Twitter feud again today with Ted Cruz. So there's Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Hello, Congresswoman. And there is Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz from Texas. They got into a battle over this entire situation today. I'll cover that. But let's get back to Congressman Patrick McHenry's comments. He said, if there has been market manipulation, fraud, or any pump and dump schemes, that obviously needs to be investigated. But the point is, it's a new world, and democratizing finance through technology, interesting choice of words, is the best way to help more Americans participate in our capital markets. I intend to ask Chairwoman Walters to hold a hearing on it. Now, here's what I find interesting. These congressmen, congresswomen, lawmakers don't get involved when big hedge funds do this to make millions, billions of dollars for themselves. For hedge funds, it's raining money when they can do stuff like this. But when a few retail investors who intelligently got together to take advantage, to exploit what was a loophole in our system. I have done another video. Please check out my other video where I talked about why this whole GameStop situation happened. It happened because there was a 137% short position on the stock. In other words, a hedge fund was able to short or sell more stocks than the number of stocks outstanding of the company. And that was a loophole that was exploited intelligently by Reddit users on a forum called Wall Street Bets. So I find it super interesting that they should choose to weigh in right now as if something is wrong, because this has been going on for a long time. Are you only going to notice when the little guy does it and when the little guy makes some money? And I also reported that Robinhood is now facing a lawsuit because, in effect, they are now preventing the little guy from making money. Remember, the same rules don't apply to the little guy as they do to the big hedge fund managers. And this is the cause that Congresswoman AOC is championing. Speaking of championing, you'll see a tweet on your screen from Ro Khanna, who's a congressman, Democrat congressman from California. He replies to Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who says that Robinhood stopping the opening of positions of GameStop, AMC, and other shares is unacceptable. Remember, a lot of these trading platforms have restricted trading, have tightened margin requirements for certain stocks, which, if you look at the big picture, impacts the little guy and prevents the little guy from making more money, because our system is fundamentally flawed. Our system is rigged. I have done another video on our channel talking about the fact that the financial system is rigged. So definitely check that out on our channel. So Congresswoman Cortez said, this is unacceptable. We now need to know more about Robinhood's decision to block retail investors from purchasing stock while hedge funds are freely available to trade stock as they see it. As a member of the Financial Services Committee, I'd support a hearing. If there's going to be a hearing, folks, it's going to open up a big can of worms, and it's actually going to affect the ability of hedge funds to short stocks. I'm going to be very curious to see how that shapes out. Ro Khanna, the congressman, the Democrat from California, responded, yes, AOC, we need an investigation into Robinhood's decision and who influenced that. This shows the need for a financial transition tax on hedge fund shorting and SEC regulations on short selling practices. Folks, this is giving the Democrats a huge opportunity to come in and say, hey, we need to tax the rich while we need to allow the little guy to make money. Folks, this is a tailor-made situation for the Democrats to take advantage of. And the Republicans are like, whoa, what's going on? We need to be able to do something. Folks, this is going to have interesting long-term implications for how financial trading is done. Chamath Palihapitiya, in the meantime, who's a billionaire investor, chimed in on this and said, in moments of uncertainty, like we are now, financial uncertainty, he said, when courage and strength are required, you find out who the true corporatist scumbags are. Chamath Palihapitiya is basically saying the companies who are now, wetting the bed, so as to speak, are the ones who've been making money all along. In this case, in the GameStop situation, the company at the top of the pecking order was Melvin Capital, a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund that lost a lot of money because they had to close out their short positions by buying the stock GameStop at extremely high prices. They're the ones who got hurt, and they're the ones who were left holding the bag for a change, and the retail investors are the ones who made money. Do you consider this an equalization, or do you consider this a loophole? If you consider this a loophole, why is it a loophole when the small investor makes money? These are the questions that are now going to be asked in the coming days and weeks. Here's another tweet on your screen where Ted Cruz responds to Congresswoman AOC and says, fully agree. Well, I don't think it's going to turn out very well for Ted Cruz to chime in like that, because he got a response not only from AOC but another political commentator, Brian Tyler Cohen. And Brian Tyler Cohen responds, your wife is managing director at Goldman Sachs. And I'm talking about Ted Cruz's wife. The last time you were in the Senate majority, your biggest achievement was giving massive tax cuts to hedge fund managers. Wow. Good point, Brian. And then he writes, you fought to repeal Dodd-Frank and abolish the CFPB. Stop lying, Ted. By the way, the CFPB is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I'll provide you with an article that gives you a little bit more information about this. And folks, here's a tweet on your screen of Elon Musk chiming in on this whole GameStop situation and chiming in to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Robinhood, basically saying absolutely, which means there should be a hearing in Congress about Robinhood imposing restrictions on retail investors who are trying to make money using the same strategies that large hedge funds have been using for a long time without being called out. And folks, speaking of being called out, here is a powerful response from Congresswoman Cortez, who says, and by the way, she's replying to Ted Cruz's tweet when he said fully agree. God, this is just smashing Cruz to bits. AOC says, I'm happy to work with Republicans on this issue when there's common ground. But you almost had me 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any GOP, any Republican member that aren't trying to get me. In the meantime, AOC says, if you want to help, meaning Ted Cruz, you must resign. And folks, Chris Coify, who's a congressional reporter for Roll Call, actually got Ted Cruz to respond to AOC's comments. And Ted Cruz said this, there's a lot of partisan anger and rage on the Democratic side. It's not healthy for our country. It's certainly not conducive of healing or unity. Well, it's interesting that Ted Cruz is now talking about healing or unity after contesting the results of the election and furthering his own political ambition at the expense of what's best for the country. Super, super, super fascinating double standard from this ambitious politician. Ted Cruz also says, but everyone has to decide how they want to interact with others. That was just a load of crock, everyone. That is something that can be said by anyone if they get pulled over for a traffic violation. That was just a load of nonsense. And guess what? AOC called him out. Here's another tweet from AOC that just came out as I was recording this video. Oh, there's anger. Now, why would there be anger that Cruz amplified known lies about our election that fueled an insurrection that cost people's lives? What does he think the logical response to his lies should be? A hug? Maybe there's anger because his actions deserve accountability. Wow! Now, folks, that was interesting. That was a complete update about the GameStop situation. I do believe that the GameStop situation reflects the inequality within our country. It reflects the fact that there's a different set of rules for the rich versus the poor. There always has been. I believe that the differences can be minimized, but they'll never be completely eliminated because the rich have always played by a separate set of rules. So I think the only solution, honestly, is for us to get rich because I believe that the system fundamentally will always be rigged. I do believe this, and I understood it when I was poor. And I have to be completely honest with you. I want all my viewers and subscribers to understand how it is to benefit from a rigged system by using the rules and by working within the rules and by rising, which is what these retail investors are trying to do, which is what all the investors on Wall Street bets are trying to do. It's interesting that Congress should get involved now. Really quick update for our viewers and subscribers about stimulus. Here's a tweet on your screen from Heather Kegel, the co-congressional bureau chief of Politico. She writes that the Congressional Planning Committee chair, Pramila Jayapal, who's a Democrat, said that President Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus plan should be the absolute floor, not the ceiling. In other words, we should use that as a floor and essentially build on top of that. She said that progressives believe that the $15 minimum wage is within bounds of reconciliation. In other words, they can pass that through reconciliation. If they do that, folks, it's going to have long-term consequences on many small businesses. So, folks, in another important tweet that was just put out by Jeff Stein from the Washington Post, you see the tweet on your screen. In a conference call that was conducted this afternoon with Democratic senators, the director of the National Economic Council, Brian Deese, is pushing back on the idea of splitting COVID relief into two packages. And it sounds like the White House wants to do one big, large package, and there was some talk of two packages. But Brian doesn't want that. Also, this is super interesting. Jon Ossoff, the newly minted senator from Georgia, I believe he's 33 years old, just incredible. So Jon Ossoff is arguing for being bold in delivering immediate relief for Americans, for our fellow Americans, because it was a campaign promise. So Jon Ossoff said that we need to be bold in delivering immediate relief for Americans as promised during the campaign, and he maintained that that is how Democrats won the Senate and that is what they should do, which is fulfill their campaign promise. And finally, folks, a very, very, very important comment on your screen reported by Caitlin Collins from CNN. The President of the United States was asked about his priorities. Folks, it doesn't get any clearer than this. The President of the United States was asked about his priorities and he said, we've got a lot to do, and the first thing I've got to do is to get this COVID package passed. And he was asked about what his next focus was. This is going to be a higher priority than healthcare legislation. So this is the first thing that President Biden wants to do. It's very clear that President Biden wants the package passed. House Speaker Pelosi wants the package passed. Chuck Schumer wants the package passed. Many, many important Republicans, including new senators like Jon Ossoff, want this passed. So we are likely to see something happen through reconciliation fairly quickly. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about all the moral issues we've touched upon, all the economic issues we've touched upon in this video, not just about stimulus, but also about the GameStop topic. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. You'll get a link to all of our resources in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. This right here is some information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. You're watching the Ignition Time channel. I welcome you to our channel. The thing that's unique about this channel is we cover the country, we cover the economy, and by extension, the impact that all of these things have on your money. I encourage you to please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. Also, tell your friends and family about us. Share this video with just 2 friends or family members. That would be amazing. One of the unique things about our channel is we always provide a link in the description section below to all our resources because you can dig deeper into these news stories for yourself. We do all the research so you don't have to, and that is our commitment to you on behalf of me and my team and everyone behind the scenes at this channel. We release videos every single day. We release videos that help you understand the state of politics. What's going on in the White House with President Biden? What's going on in the House with House Speaker Pelosi? What's going on in the Senate with the new Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and the bane of his existence, the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell? You will understand everything that's going on in the complex chessboard, this chess sequence where the key players are the President, the House Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader, and the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. I help you understand what's going on in the complex world of Washington, D.C., so you can make sense of all of this for yourself. Follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Follow us on Twitter as well. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Here's my Twitter handle. You'll see that our Twitter community is growing very rapidly. I invite you to join us on our Twitter community because you'll see what I'm reading, you'll be able to engage with me, and I retweet the news in real time. So you'll be able to follow along all the breaking news with me on Twitter. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget, you can get on our SMS list. Just get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000. You'll get added to SMS alerts list. You'll get important news, breaking news from Ignition Time. You can also get on our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and then you'll be able to get on our email list. You can opt out of the SMS list or the email list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. Also, keep in mind that sometimes YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So all you have to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. Simply bookmark that and you'll be able to visit the homepage of our channel and check out our videos at any point in time that you want. Please comment below, become a part of our growing community. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thanks. Bye.